Almost Got Him is widely regarded as one of the best episodes of Batman the Animated Series. In this phenomenal episode, a small group of Batman's foes get together to play poker and tell each other stories about the times they've come the closest to finally killing Batman. Watching this episode recently got me thinking about all of the times Batman's villains came really close to finishing him off. So here's a list of 7 times Batman's villains almost got him. Number 7. Killer Croc, Sideshow.
I threw a rock at him!
It's arguably one of Killer Croc's most famous lines from the show, even though it wasn't even him that actually said it. But that doesn't take away from how close Batman came to death at Croc's hands. After escaping from a prison transport and being pumped full of tranquilizers, a drowsy Killer Croc makes his way through the wilderness while being pursued by Batman. After tumbling from the prison transport, Batman is left dazed and vulnerable, while Croc is just about conscious. In his confused state, the opportunistic Croc opts for a more simple, yet brutal method of killing Batman. He throws a giant rock at him. It may not be the most advanced plan, but he came within a few inches of ending Batman's life. If he had hit his mark, then that would have been the end of our dear Dark Knight. Number 6. The Penguin in The Mechanic. This isn't a particularly good episode, but the Penguin's scheme to kill Batman and Robin in The Mechanic was actually quite solid. The Penguin discovered the identity of the man who built the Batmobile and then forced him to sabotage it, giving the Penguin control over the vehicle. Fortunately, the Penguin's sadism ultimately led to his downfall. If he had just driven the Batmobile off of a bridge, then he would have succeeded. But no, he had to make a big show of it and drag out Batman's suffering. This allowed Batman time to figure out a way to escape, and left the Penguin polishing car license plates in prison.
One bat for you!
Number 5. The Mad Hatter, Mad as a Hatter. The Mad Hatter is more of an intellectual threat than a physical threat. He isn't a particularly strong person, and instead favours using mind-controlled minions to do the fighting for him. However, in Mad as a Hatter, there is a moment where the Mad Hatter manages to almost end Batman once and for all. While navigating a playing card maze, the Mad Hatter ambushes Batman by toppling over an oversized playing card, pinning Batman to the ground. Realizing the opportunity in front of him, the Mad Hatter reaches for his axe and prepares to take a swing for Batman's head. Fortunately, Batman is able to throw off a batarang and a prop Jabberwocky, bringing it down upon the Mad Hatter. If that card had landed at a slightly different angle, then that would have been the end of Batman. Number 4. The Riddler in Riddler's Reform. Much has been said about how BTAS' version of the Riddler was a little underwhelming, but he came incredibly close to killing Batman, certainly closer than many of Batman's biggest foes. In Riddler's Reform, the Riddler sets an inescapable trap, sealing Batman inside of a building with all doors and windows blocked by steel barricades, and sets off a bomb. It's such a foolproof plan that the Riddler couldn't even conceive of a way to get out and was absolutely certain that he had finished Batman off once and for all. So you can understand then why his mind snapped when he found out that Batman survived and refused to tell him how he did it. Turns out the building the Riddler chose for his scheme contained a heavy-duty safe, which Batman climbed inside of and shut the door. It's fortunate then that the explosion knocked that door off, or else Batman would have suffocated. Number 3. Clayface, Mudslide. Speaking of suffocation, that brings us to the number 3 choice. Clayface's attempt at killing Batman in Mudslide. Clayface and his partner in crime, Dr. Stella Bates, were attempting to restore his abilities when Batman intervened. Realizing that they had been caught, Clayface decided that the only way to get his treatment would be by eliminating Batman. And how does he decide to do away with the Dark Knight? By dragging him into his clay flesh, smothering him. It's quite a harrowing scene, with Batman desperately struggling to get free several times before his pulse starts to slow and stop. Clayface's delight at feeling Batman die is genuinely disturbing, although his pleasure is short-lived as Batman escapes by blasting his way out by shooting his grapple gun through Clayface's head. Ouch. Number 2. Harley Quinn in Mad Love. Using a discarded scheme put together by the Joker, Harley Quinn captures Batman and puts him in an inescapable death trap, chained upside down, blood rushing to his head, dangled over a pool of piranha that is rapidly filling with water. Harley Quinn did what the Joker could not. She had him beaten. Until Batman goaded her into calling the Joker to witness his demise. Unfortunately for Harley, the Joker could never allow her to upstage him, and that ultimately led to Batman's escape and Harley's hospitalization.
I had no way out other than convincing her to call you. I knew your massive ego would never allow anyone else the honor of killing me. Though I have to admit she came a lot closer than you ever did. Could.
Number 1. The Joker, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. Speaking of the Joker, no one has ensnared Batman in more death traps than him. He's tried to drown him, fed him to a shark, dropped him in molten metal, the list goes on. But, as the Joker says,
there's more than one way to get someone.
In my opinion, the most damaging thing the Joker ever did to Batman took place in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. This film includes a flashback to the New Batman Adventures era Batman, and shows the final confrontation between Batman and the Joker. The Joker decides he needs a successor. Rather than have a child of his own or go through a formal adoption, he decides to borrow one of Batman's children, Robin. The Joker brutally tortures Robin, breaking his mind, body and spirit, and learns Batman's secret identity. This violation leaves behind Little J, which is in itself a mean-spirited pun, J as in the initial for Joker, but also a type of bird. And to all intents and purposes, he is now the Joker's son. Batman reacts violently, more so than we've ever seen before. When Batman is ultimately defeated, it's the Joker's final act of malice that truly shatters the Bat family, leading Bruce on a lonely path of isolation in his later years. The Joker encourages Jay to shoot Batman. Instead, he shoots the Joker, killing him.
That's not funny. That's not...
It would take Tim several years of extensive therapy to help him overcome what was done to him, but the relationship between the Bat family was destroyed. For decades afterwards, Bruce would live alone in Wayne Manor, until the day he met Terry McGinnis.
And get off my property!
And if it wasn't for his relationship with Terry McGinnis, Bruce Wayne would have remained in that isolated state, and the Joker would have truly succeeded.
Jeez, no wonder he could fight.
Get out!
Right, that's my list. I'm sure there are many other times where villains came close to defeating Batman. Why don't you share some of your favourites in the comments? You know how YouTube works.